on a cold, cold night. There was a bone chill fright, and there was nowhere to hide. 'Cause this monster's on the inside. I think you better say a prayer tonight. Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac.
This is Megan.
And a lot of new stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, you.
I like how we just like introed with that.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, we had like a lot of new stuff going on.
Yeah.
I guess first thing, announcements to talk about. I have a new job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that in the last episode.
No.
Yeah, because that's why we were late, remember? He doesn't even remember.
I'm tired. Did I?
Yeah, because that's why we were late. It was because the scheduling was off.
That's right.
But at that time, you were starting the job. You weren't like...
Yeah, well, I've gotten more proficient with killing bugs now, so...
Yeah, he's one of them pest guys.
Yeah, that's something I didn't know. I guess it's fun information for you guys. If you give two shits about pest control. That exterminator and pest control are two different businesses.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm not actually exterminating a little bit, but my main focus is not killing shit. It's making sure it doesn't go into your home. An exterminator's full positioning is to go kill whatever's in your home, not prevent it from giving back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So exterminators, they just go in there to kill shit. And then me, I just make sure they can't get in.
Oh.
And a little bit of killing, but not so much. But yeah, I didn't know that, and I was learning that stuff.
Yeah, you learned a lot this last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It doesn't even feel like a week, which is weird.
I know, it feels longer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like it's been like a full 2 weeks, but it's not.
No.
Weird.
Anyway. Another interesting thing, I don't know if you guys know this or not. I know we posted it on our Instagram, but I was as a guest on Hillbilly Horror Stories.
Yeah.
Which, if you already listened to us, I would say you probably have heard of them.
Oh, yeah,
most likely.
For sure. Because they're like one of the top like paranormal podcasts out there. Like you probably know them before you know us.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
We're second fiddle.
Yeah.
Or fourth, probably. But yeah, if you want to go listen to that interview, they have it up on their available episodes. So
yeah, it's actually under. Well, check out our Instagram. I can't remember the name of the actual title of the episode, but it doesn't have like Isaac. It has in the description like Isaac
Cambridge
was here.
University or Haunted University.
Yeah,
or something
it's like an hour and 34 minutes long. But we have like the actual title of the episode on our Instagram. So
yeah, so you go listen to the interview I did with him. Kind of repeating a lot of stuff you've heard here, but it's nice to hear someone else's reaction from other.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a long-time listener and you're hearing someone else's reaction to first time hearing about me and you. It's interesting. I always wonder if it's as much as fun for you guys as it is for us.
Yeah.
When you hear someone new hearing our story. And also another thing too, I wonder like, do some of our long-time listeners, right, our dedicated listeners say, when they tell people about our podcast and then tell them about like what we can do, do your people you're telling it to get like freaked out, like what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
I always have something to think of.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we were thinking later on when we do like a Patreon thing of actually doing guest episodes with some of you guys. Like it's a fan thing.
Yeah.
Where you guys can tell us your experiences and stuff like that. Yeah. Kind of like a listener submission, but an actual interview.
And you can ask us questions you always want to ask us.
Yeah. But when we get to the Patreon kind of like level, we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. Yeah. We actually chopped the top 200 globally and internationally is the same kind of.
Do you?
And in the US, so that was kind of cool. The first time we kind of like charted, which that's, I think, one thing too. Like we do this because we like to do it. I mean, we love telling you guys and talking about the paranormal, and it gives us a chance to like sit down and like talk about, the paranormal with each other as well. And we do it because, there might be people out there that have similar stories that might be like a little bit like hesitant to talk about it or want to know more about it. Cause like we've gotten some people that have reached out to us that have questions about abilities and have questions more about like specific stories we tell and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. But that's why we do it. I mean, if we get like well known from doing this, that's cool. If our podcast, gets bigger, that's great,
Yeah.
So.
Which actually coincides with today's episode. Paranormal Wise. What's, who's, how's, and when's.
Yeah, so we're going to answer some of the questions that kind of gets asked with the paranormal. And that's what I want to preface before we start, is that a lot of this is our opinion and our experiences and stuff like that.
And some is no knowledge.
Yeah.
Some. Trying to say absolute fact in the paranormal is kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that has happened so many times in existence that you can say, but without probably a shadow of a doubt, that is mostly likely what's going to happen in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
But these are questions that we get asked
also
a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when I tell people about, like, I'm a paranormal investigator on the side, I do a paranormal podcast, and what is this and what is that? Do ghosts do that and ghosts do that? Yeah. So we do our best to answer some of these most popular questions. And also Megan found some that we've kind of answered before. And that's what I was telling her, like, in the beginning when we were talking about this, discussing this episode, is that this is kind of like some of the stuff we answered before.
But it's like in a condensed episode.
Yeah, because this goes a stretch from when we started till now. So we thought, and it's also we'll probably skip around thinking of questions while we're doing this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more free flowing than anything we've done before. Well, not anything we've done before, but in a while.
Yeah. Fun fact: I almost ate a spider just now.
There
was a spider. We had to pause it. I know technically I could have went on and you guys would have never known because I could edit it, but literally there was a spider and I almost, like, obviously because like you breathe into the mic, I could have ate it. It's weird. I'm not a spider fan, as you can tell.
Well, give me a couple of days, I'll start spraying this entire house.
Yeah. Okay, so starting, I want to go with this one because I think it's really interesting. And I actually play with this thought a lot of the times. And I feel like from our experience, we could talk about this. So this was actually I actually found this question asked on Pinterest, but there was no direct link to who asked this. It was like someone that posts like paranormal questions, but I don't know who it was from. But I thought it was a good question. And it is, do you believe ghosts are able to manifest themselves usually or selectively, so that like they only do it, like say a ghost will manifest itself so only Isaac sees it, or that, well, you don't, even with psychics, that like certain psychics see it?
Yes,
I think that's true too.
No, and there's actually a good point to that. It has to go with what do you say, spirits showing themselves under actually certain lights to begin with too. Mm-hmm. For example, like when you catch a ghost on a camera, mm-hmm. but you don't see it in real life, mm-hmm. right? Or vice versa, you catch nothing on camera, but the person actually there saw it.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like it appeared to the person right there, but it didn't get picked up on camera.
Yeah.
That's happened a few times in like paranormal shows I've watched and different people who do paranormal investigations and stuff like that.
That's also like too, and I think like they selectively go to different psychics. Like, we'll be in a location and I can feel other things around, but there will be a specific, almost like spirit that will like manifest itself to one of us more. There has been certain situations where, like, for instance, you take me and Megan, where I've seen something and it feels like, a spirit is like specifically communicating with me. She could see it too, but for whatever reason, it's trying to get a message over to me to help them or whatever. And it's happened vice versa too with Megan. Like the one time at the Maysville Cemetery, there's a girl, I think that was buried, or that, was buried there. She has like Down syndrome, I think, or something. And she kept specifically going like manifesting herself to Megan versus me. And there was other locations where I would see an entity more so than her. I mean, she could still sense that that entity was there, but for whatever reason, it wanted to get the message to her. So I think that with psychic people too, that is also selective.
Yes. Most things actually don't show themselves to me, but there's a few times that something has appeared to me, not say specifically, but I was just the only one able to see it. Mm-hmm. Like that shadow figure I saw in the Whip Library.
Yeah.
On the upstairs that looked like it looked like it,
yeah, like
creepy, like it had its arms up and it tilted its head at me, which anything that tilts its head at you automatically becomes creepy.
Yeah.
But a thought came to mind. I don't know if I ever said this before in an episode, but I was thinking back on that, and I was like, the thought that was in my mind at the time was like, the balls on this thing.
Yeah.
Right? To do that in front of me, to come like within he's grabbing distance after what I've already did to that place with my ability.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, man, this thing's it either thinks that I can't get it, or it's got big balls that think they can do that without being taken off the plane. But yeah, my first thought was like, the balls of this thing to do that.
Oh my gosh. That should be on a t-shirt.
The gall of this thing. Yeah. But no, I mean, that situation happened before, and I would say, yeah, that's probably a good thing. But it also goes with the idea of like residual and we call it intelligent spirits. Like a residual ghost will repeat the same thing over and over again, and then it will appear to everyone in that same pattern over and over again. Versus an intelligent spirit that wants to appear itself to a certain person because it wants to be seen by that person, like psychics and such. So
yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't know why I'm wanting to go this way. It's not really a question, but I want to try using music at locations to see if there's, I don't know, like for me as a psychic, like I can channel, you've seen it happen. I can channel things very effectively with music involved. And I've just always liked music. And there's a couple experiments I wanted to try at locations using music. Because I feel like that people familiar, even like back in the 1800s and stuff like that, there was some sort of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I always want to use like heavy bass sounding stuff, right? Not, sorry, hip hop, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Music. What is that? Meditation style music? Binaural beats.
Yeah.
Binaural beats, right? Stuff like that kind of like creates that vibration and have like the thick enough speakers that kind of vibrates to the ground, right? Attracting spirits or making them run away. I don't know how it would work, but I feel like that kind of sounds would do something in a haunted place.
Yeah. Interesting. It would be interesting too to see like how music affects, because like a music can affect a person. Like like certain music makes you cry and certain music makes you happy, and then some obviously brings back memories, and triggers that stuff. So I'm wondering like if you were to use music at haunted locations,
you have to get that period of era right for say like majority of spirits there from like the 1950s or something.
Yeah.
You have to pick the music for the times.
Or like if you were to go to, that would be kind of cool. I don't know when we start, because we're gonna start amping up investigations here soon-ish, not soon, but soon. With Shadow Walker Paranormal and stuff like that, and there's a lot of things I know that me, Isaac, myself, Megan and Mike want to try. And for me, one of them is definitely like using music. Before we actually kind of like took that break in investigating, that was my next thing. Like I wanted to bring a speaker on my phone and kind of like a separate speaker other than my phone to kind of see if it attracts, detracts, if it, it attracts entities because of, and two, if they have any comments like on stuff. What?
It'd be funny if you're trying to play like something from like 1930s.
They're like bad music.
Like that, but all of a sudden you play like a Slipknot song or something out of nowhere.
Yeah. The gates of hell has unleashed.
You hear this? I don't know. That'd be funny.
Yeah. What is that racket?
Why do you play that?
Oh gosh. So I guess that leads to our next question, and since we're like slightly talking about investigations, and it's a question that we've actually gotten asked before, during one of the little Q&As we do on our live, and I think it's a good question for people like starting out and everything, is what questions do you or should you ask during an EVP session?
All right, yeah. And most people ask, like, why did you die? No, why did you die? Whatever reason, like, how did you die? Or, I think little bits and pieces to figure out, like, to put who is there. Like, connect the history to, like, what's your name? What year did you die? Which, if I was dead, to be annoying questions like that. I know the one that you asked the most, or we asked the most, is, why are you still here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because most people, well, most spirits anyway, will give the answer like, I need to get this across, or I don't know how to cross. I'm stuck here. Something's keeping me here.
Yeah. I've gotten that before.
A lot of different answers we got from a lot of different things, or they ask a question pertaining to something specific. Because spirits are asked questions, especially when they know you're trying to communicate with them.
Yeah.
But the questions I always ask is like, why are you still here? Is something keeping you here?
Yeah.
Because most of the time spirits try to move on, and then my spirit might say, I have to get this message across to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to locations, specific locations that spirits are not entrapped, but like they say they're stuck with, right? Mm-hmm. They keep coming back to that location, like we seen from different places. They're not there usually by choice, is what we found out from our investigation. Sometimes they're stuck there.
Yeah.
And they can't
different
leave.
Reasons, yeah.
But like a spirit that goes and moves around and goes different places, that one is obviously trying to get something done, get a message across. Yeah. Unfinished business, as they say, right?
Yeah, atonement even.
So I think that was a breakthrough essentially in our discoveries with the paranormal, is that when it seems that spirits are stuck in one location, they're stuck in all real sense. Like they can't leave, they can't move on, something's keeping them there.
And there's some, honestly, that want to stay there for a specific reason. Like if you take the library, some of the entities that we interacted with was like the doctor that was there, the Webbs, who, they were the ones that put up the library. They wanted to stay there. They felt like it was their building to protect, to, help stay there. They felt like they wanted to just stay there.
Even the the Octagon House with the little girl, I can't remember her name.
Mm-hmm. But that's the next question. Okay, there's a bunch of questions. Sorry, I gotta calm myself down. Okay.
But yeah, essentially with Octagon House, I can't remember her name at the moment. Kate, that's right. She was not say stuck there. She wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
Like almost like a guide for anyone coming to the Octagon House.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to premise that because so there's like, I don't know, like mixed feelings about child spirits.
Don't bring back the ultimate debate amongst paranormal investigators.
Yeah. I'm curious.
I know, but that question is like, I don't know if it ever would be answered.
No, it probably won't, because I feel like it is so, I feel like sometimes, yes, there are children spirits that get stuck. Like you said, like trapped for some reason. Mm-hmm. Like there's something keeping them there. There's something they're just trapped or whatever. But do I think demonic things and darker energies like manipulate you and think you're, yeah, I think so. And a great example about it, too, that I can kind of talk about is, I know you guys have heard me talk about, like the Hat Man, right? Like I saw the Hat Man. And recently I tried to do an interview with one of my good friends, and she is a psychic medium, and she is badass. Like she is really good. And before I started getting like this weird, like chaotic feeling, and literally I'm starting to figure out like chaoticness when you start feeling the chaotic energy that you can't really, there's no real placement. Like you can be excited or like, like happy or whatever, but when there's just like, it's just chaotic and you can't really control it. It's like darker natured stuff. So I started feeling like this, and I was like, I don't understand why, like we've had occurrences before between each other, and I'm fine. But I have had where, I've done interviews with other psychics, and it's been like I don't know, weird energy and just weird. And I started telling her, because she was like, before, she was like, okay, let's ground, let's whatever, let's also talk about like kind of the stories you're going to tell. And so I started talking about the Hat Man. That was like my first real thing. And for those of you that have listened before, know that with the Hat Man came this little girl spirit. Anyways, I found out that the Hat Man, like, it was appearing kind of like the Hat Man, but it wasn't the Hat Man. It was, it may have been the Hat Man, I don't know, but it was a dark entity that was attached to me and has been attached to me for a long time. And it was portraying itself as the girl sometimes to get me at ease when I was a kid, obviously. And so I was able to remove that, and it's 100% like, before, when I had that negative attachment, it felt like I was constantly at battle in my mind a little bit. I would get like intrusive thoughts and stuff like that. And it kind of like peeks its head out every now and then. But yeah, I was able to fully remove it, which is good. But I just thought that was interesting because sometimes it'll show you, because obviously when you see a little kid, you're not as like, standoffish. So anybody out there that's paranormal investigating, I believe there is child spirits because I've seen them and communicated with them. But I do think you have to ask yourself, and you have to be kind of forefront if it really is a kid.
Well, for everyone else in the world who doesn't have my ability, you playing the guessing game. But for us and our team, we never have to guess, because I can tell you within a few seconds of me being in the presence of this whether it's evil or it's good.
That is true with Isaac's ability. Like he can gauge if it's negative or positive. So, but before, I didn't know.
But no, that's how I knew Kate, who was at the Octagon House, was actual child spirit, because my left hand, which is usually finds human spirits and good spirits charged around her, versus say my right hand didn't charge around her and stuff like that.
Something was off with the psychics with her. I don't know what exactly it was, but psychics, she didn't hang around too much of the psychics for whatever reason. She hung out more around people that had abilities, but not so much of psychics on the team, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe she thought that we were going to force her to cross, which we don't do that, but, Okay, so this is something that we actually kind of use on investigations, so I'm curious. But it's a question that kind of gets tossed around because some paranormal teams use them, some don't. And it's ghost hunting apps. Do they work?
Yes and no. There are a lot of apps out there that are cheap and are basically just randomly generated crap.
Yeah.
And most of those apps I don't like using because they suck so bad. But there are a few that we have tested that we actually can put our say in, saying, yeah, if you want to paranormal investigate and you can't avoid a spirit box or something like that, or SB7 or anything that caliber, and you need something, there's two that always you point people, and actually three now. But Necrophonics, which that's going to cost you $15 to get.
No, it was 10.
They dropped it?
No, it was
I remember paying 15.
That was 10. Get straight, Isaac. I think you just remembered it wrong.
Or I'm just tired.
Yeah.
But no, Necrophonics app works pretty well. It's
little chaotic,
but it works pretty distinct on with getting voices through and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've actually gotten. I think Necrophonics and GhostTube were like invented by paranormal investigators, right?
Yes, GhostTube worked like a I keep forgetting the name of that damn piece of technology that generates words that spirits put into it. Like they push spirit energy.
Box?
No, spirit box. You hear the voice.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's a
K something.
Darn it! Why did you give me?
I know we both brain farted on that.
Yeah, you gave me your fart, man.
It doesn't matter. Basically, words will be printed, like come up verbally so you can see them. But GhostTube created GhostVox, which essentially works like Necrophonics, but better.
Yeah, that thing is
more
insane.
Singular, and it's not so jumbled. Like we use Necrophonics, it sounds like a group of people talking at one time. but Ghost Fox works like one person at a time.
Okay, Ghost Fox, which is GhostTube's like version of that, of necrophonics. It is crazy because like obviously, when I do,
where is she getting paid for this advertisement?
Nah. Seriously though, like we tested it out and we were like, okay, we're gonna run this app through the ringer. Let's see how good it actually is. And I freaked out because like you don't input words. So GhostTube you can. You can put like if you have specific people on the team, you can put your team's name or a certain location or whatever. You can add words into their dictionary kind of. But this one you can't. And I was freaked out. We did it at the house, just to see what was around or whatever. And there was a woman. It sounded like she had like a Spanish accent, and she goes, Isaac.
Which is my name in Spanish.
Yeah. Which, yeah. It was really, it was really like that solidified it for me. I was like, dang. Like Isaac's not that popular of a name too. So.
Well, not anymore.
And then with GhostTube, I had two where it was the words that were coming through on the GhostTube were correlating with the spirit box. One of the team members, when we were part of the first team, had a spirit box, and like my name was coming up on GhostTube and on the spirit box. So that correlation. And obviously when you use if you use like I feel like if it's not GhostTube or Necrophonics and it's like an off-brand ghost hunting app, it's probably like Ghost Radar or something like that.
I know. And we tried finding a lot of stuff out there, and we tested ourselves to see if it actually is worth anything, because we haven't bought any equipment ourselves.
Yeah. Which is going to be starting soon.
Yeah. Then again, I always think to myself, do you really need anything?
I mean, I feel like, okay, so obviously...
the only thing we would need is to everyone else that doesn't have abilities.
Yeah.
For them to be part of the...
experience.
Situation, but yeah.
And I like to, like me, I'm the type, like I videotape and take photos at every place we go, because sometimes I don't get all the messages like when I'm there. Sometimes it's like my brain takes in everything, but then my subconscious when I get home like unpacks it, if that makes any sense. And so there have been some times where I have to look back, and I look back and like I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty decent at like catching things in photos. So yeah. And I think my favorite thing is like the spirit box though, because some of the correlations is insane. Like
any paranormal app that has ads on the bottom of it is crap.
Yeah,
I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to pay for them, but like I said, GhostTube. I think GhostTube you pay $2.99. And I mean, like I said, GhostTube Necrophonics is pretty good. So, yeah. Okay, so, this next one is, and it kind of correlates with each other, so that's why I'm going to say both at the same time, is why do bathrooms have an increased amount of activity sometimes at locations? And then also, why are
What?
I don't know what that was. I apologize. Okay. I don't know what that... Okay.
You'll start speaking in tongues, huh?
No. Let's not. I don't even know what that was. I can't... Okay.
That was your brain not working with your mouth.
It was like...
Too much information at once.
Yeah. Okay. Why are mirrors portals? Like, why are they portals?
Bathrooms are haunted for the same reason why they always seem to be the place to go when a hurricane, tornado, or something goes through, right? Pipes. Pipes and water. Water is a natural conduit for the supernatural. That's why most places that are extremely haunted are near lakes or bodies of water, rivers, and stuff like that have that conduit of energy consistently flowing. So almost think like a consistent excess of white noise, but natural.
Yeah.
And that's why bathrooms are essentially haunted. I'm not saying a lot of people die in them. I mean, after we've been to the bathroom, a lot of people could die just walking in there.
More so you than me.
Yeah, I made people go, God damn, when walking in there a couple of times before.
Gosh.
Or that like a redneck Mexican I heard about. Chingo madre, brother. I was surprised at the accent and it was Spanish at the same time. I was like, what? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. But the main reason is there's also a lot of porcelain and stone.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard surface, a lot of things like that. And also, I think it has to do with the metals, the copper, most conduit metals, a lot of things conducting energy and electricity. I was trying to think of a better word than conducting.
Yeah, it's like you had a little bit of a...
Get out. All right. But yeah, I think that's the main reason. And then also all the mirrors.
Yeah.
Brings into the second point. Yeah. Why mirrors are portals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, for the fun fact to me, I don't know who invented mirrors.
Yeah.
But the glass that a mirror is made of now was second to what actual mirrors were in the past. Mirrors were reflective metal objects. They were polished to a fine point to create a reflection. Mm-hmm. Right? That's how mirrors were created in the first place. Original ones, anyway. And did you know that old mirrors actually had silver in them?
Really?
Hence why people said vampires can't see the reflection because there's silver in it and they can't see it. Blah, blah, blah.
I didn't know that.
But mirrors are essentially portals or used as portals because they reflect the world through them. Mm-hmm. Right? Here's something fucking creepy to do on your own.
Oh my gosh.
Put your hand outside the reflection of the mirror and try to look in the reflection of the mirror and you'll see your hand. How are you seeing your hand if it's not in the reflection? Yeah.
Weird.
And it's extremely creepy when you do it. It's like, how am I seeing my hand inside the mirror reflection when it's not being reflected back to me?
Weird.
And there's a scientific, logical reason. It's about light reflecting and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's just creepy to see because like you're thinking to yourself, how am I seeing my hand in the mirror, but it's not being reflected back? Like I don't have my hand in the mirror, but if I look inside the mirror, I can see it. Like the other person on the other side of the mirror is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So there's different theories like that go around that your reflection is another version of you staring back at you at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's like too. Like I know me, like I don't like mirrors. Like if I used to have a mirror on the back of a closet that would face me when I would sleep, and I couldn't do it. I used to have to put a covering over it.
But in essential, mirrors are portals because they have access to the world, and how they hold the energy and stuff like that, I guess is what it's made out of. But most of the time, that's what's happened in the past. A haunted mirror seems to be one of those top haunted objects of all time. You talk about like most haunted mirrors in existence and stuff like that. There's a lot, just because it happens so much.
Yeah.
But as best guess answer, it's the best I can give because from what we've experienced, the mirror test you want to do with anything is to push your finger against the glass, and if your reflection is off center by a little bit, the mirror is damaged. Something's in it.
Off, yeah.
Something's off by the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is.
So if you people listening, go fucking test their mirrors right now.
Go test the mirrors. Go.
Yeah. So if your finger's pressed against the glass, so you put it right against it, and it's off center, like your finger is not directly lining up with your reflection, it's off by a little bit, then something's off with that mirror.
Weird. I'd like to go into an antique shop and test that out.
I bet you can find a couple. Yeah. Well, funny enough, I pulled from a mirror once.
Really?
And I heard it crack when I pulled energy.
Really? And
it was strange is that I didn't think there was anything in it until I put my hand against the glass and I felt it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No, there's antique stores freak me out now. I'm glad like I don't go into them.
Because there's so much potential haunted objects and a lot of people's belongings are there. Some probably did not give it up, but since they died, there's no one to claim it. It goes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is, that would be cool to do a freaking like live at an antique store, like just see what we could. No, because I went into this one. There's two in town specific. There's one I don't know why I will not go into, and I don't know why Like, literally, anytime we plan to go into it, there's something that changes where I don't want to go. And then there was one I did go into, and there was no. Oh, I know why. The first one. I was looking at pictures of the place, and I saw this doll and this clown. And I was like, dude, there is something. And the clown was like $200, and the porcelain doll was like, but the porcelain doll was like dressed in a clown outfit. And hell no. I was like, I felt like buying it just to give it to somebody that knows what to do with haunted objects. Because, yeah,
I do.
Because literally I was like, someone is going to get this and something bad is going to either happen to them or like these two dolls gave me like, I don't know. Oh my gosh. I'm going to see if maybe I can find the picture and share it with you guys. You'd probably be like, oh my gosh, it's right.
Expose people that are evil.
I don't know. Oh, that thing was not right. Anyways, but so I don't know why I won't go in there after that, after seeing that photo. But I went to the other one, and there was a doll in that one too that was just did not sit right. But energy in an antique store is weird though. Okay, so moving on. Why are spirits so active at night, or why do they tend to be active at night?
That is not 100% true. Or saying that why they're only active at night is a wrong statement to say. Yeah. Why is most active at night is the proper way. Because the spirits that are active during the day, though it's more rare. The theory behind it is, and it's been talked about a lot amongst paranormal investigators, is that the ether, the paranormal realm where ghosts dwell and stuff like that is dark, right? It's darkness. So at night, when everything from our world and their world looks the same, they can easily go back and forth because they don't know what's different.
Yeah.
That's the theory, is that because our world and their world looks the same at the same time, they can come to our plane, hence why a majority of activity happens at night.
I'm thinking maybe two theories. Closer to the witching hour.
Well, I mean, it's
closer and closer.
Demonic activity, but...
Well, yeah, if it was like darker stuff. Yeah. And then also the places aren't... Because like some spirits just they don't want people to see them. That's what some paranormal people don't understand, I think, sometimes. Sometimes paranormal just doesn't want you to see it. Doesn't really care that you want to... Like, just doesn't want you to see it.
Yeah.
And, because I think I've been to a location once where the person that was there was like, okay, just leave me. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't want to be on video. I don't want to, leave me alone.
I think there's actually truth to that, because you think about abandoned places where there's not like human traffic, and a random person goes in there, right? They hear stuff happen. Because there's not a lot of that spirit thinks there's no one there, so it's free to roam and move. Versus a place that sees a lot of traffic, and then the place goes dead from all human activity, and then it's allowed to do what it wants. Hence, nighttime, when not a lot of people are at a certain place. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think too. Obviously, that's why paranormal investigators too, like they go at night because there's not a lot of people, and you can have an actual investigation. You don't have to worry about it being like in a public area because
someone looking at me weird when I have my hand out for no reason.
Yeah. Or, messing with you, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. So this one is talking about animals, and this is like, can animals see ghosts and why? And my initial response to it was, probably because they have heightened senses. But my sister actually said, well, yeah, but they lack consciousness that we know of. So we don't really know, but
yeah, a dog's senses of smell, sight, and hearing far more than ours.
Yeah.
Same for cats. But the old legend around it is that cats have a strong connection to the underworld because they're the guardians of the underworld.
Yeah.
In Egyptian religion and stuff like that. That's why they see spirits more easily than, say, dogs can. But dogs can sense what's there. And they are afraid of what they hear because they know what's there relatively represents a human like us, but they can't smell it, or they can, and it doesn't smell like a human smells. And so if you see a dog stare at like a spot, like in a random place where there's no one there, and they get freaked out. Like they're staring hard at a spot trying to figure out what they're staring at. And they start growling because they don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, animals can sense spirits and stuff like that because they can see, hear, and smell. We can't lose you with our, I wouldn't say dull senses, but compared to an animal, yeah. Especially predatory animals that they require those senses.
Yeah.
Like cats, dogs, different kind of breeds of cats and, the canines, you would say.
Yeah.
They can particularly see them. Even birds sometimes get affected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
But, so, to any pet owners out there, especially of cats and dogs, when your animal is staring at a spot in the house and there's nothing there and it starts getting freaked out at that spot, you might get a spirit in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah, because you notice, for instance, the Devil's Tramp. Sorry, I went off on a weird thing in my brain. Now I'm back. Like the Devil's Tramping Ground, dogs won't go near the circle. Like they'll yelp. And there's been even stuff in demonic cases where the dog has yelped. So they have to sense.
I wonder if there's a correlation between dogs, animals using their senses, like natural born senses to find things versus us using our ability, all humans, to feel the energy. Right?
Weird, yeah.
That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to some questions that we get asked on the regular. So this is just like a little Q&A. Okay, so this is questions that people ask us, and I know I get asked a lot. First question, how do we choose paranormal subjects for our episodes?
And the beginning, it was just going through
the
most
through
common
everything.
ones. Now we're just digging out the bottom of the hat. What's this? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because we want to give you guys some different things, not the same repetitive parts. We want to bring you guys some...
we talked about the whole of a subject. Now we're splitting that whole apart in smaller pieces to get like you say urban legends, but there's so many different kinds of urban legends, and so you got to pick this one, that one, that one.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Ghosts. Well, what kind of ghosts? You got to pick those apart and stuff like that.
And then too, I think sometimes we'll hear stories or random weird not conspiracy theories, but theories on certain stuff on TikTok or something that other people bring up or whatever, and then we're like, hey, what about this? What about that? And so we kind of discuss some interesting stuff. And then obviously listener submission stories, anybody that submits stuff to us or we read it or anything like that.
Most of the time it's things that we hear that will be interesting to talk about. And then remember, sometimes we just talk about me and you were talking what would be a good idea for episode, and we're just sitting there going, well, we haven't talked about this, or we haven't gone a little more in depth into that.
True.
Yeah.
So another question we get is, what is some one of the scariest incidences you've had with the paranormal so far?
I mean, for anyone out there who has not seen a ghost or seen something move across the room that shouldn't, something fly across, something move, something hover, something slide, any of those things, you get that instant shock of a chill running down your spine, literal sense, the chill, your entire back goes up, your goosebumps shoot up, and you have that thought in your head is, what am I seeing is real? We've had a few of those already, but ever since we do what we did and we have our abilities that we have, it's less I want to say I'm still shocked sometimes when I see something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last so long. I automatically have that click reflex, oh, I can handle this.
Yeah.
Don't freak out.
Yeah. And that's important when you're developing your abilities as well, is getting to that point. And anybody listening that is working on, honing their abilities and learning more about their abilities and embracing.
I'm sorry, I just thought when I hear something now, say in the house, I hear a thump or a footstep in the hallway or just a random voice. My hand automatically twitches for a flex, like a guy reaching for his gun. Right?
Yeah.
Ready to go, ready to quick draw whatever is there.
I think to me, obviously, I'm used to stuff. obviously hearing stuff. There was a TikTok, and I think I shared it on our story one time, but it was like, one of the psychic mediums did it. Basically, she has a thing with being clairaudient, and she was like making a joke out of like a serious thing. Like where she'll be doing everyday things and just hear random things. Like, wasn't there one I think that you laughed at?
Give me back my hamster.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like, I know the paranormal exists. I've experienced the other side like my entire life. I know I have abilities. I know, but still sometimes, especially when something like manifests full-fledged in front of me, or I know for a fact, or I see something in my third eye for sure. Like if I look with my eyes, I don't see it, but in my third eye, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I could see it, right? It's still sometimes like freaks me out like a little bit, like or like when I get like, I think even too, like it's not the scariest thing, but like when I get validation, like when there was one time where we were on a location not recently, but like on the newer team, and I kept saying, guys, I keep hearing the name Hannah. Do you guys hear that? And they're like, no. But when I went back and reviewed the footage, there was a part where a girl goes, "Hi, I'm Hannah." Like literally clear as day. And I remember editing being like, "Oh man, what the fuck?" You know, like it's crazy that I caught it, because it was like I was saying it before the actual EVP came, and I was like, yeah. So it's not scariest, but it's like the ones that make you go, "Oh yeah."
The scariest thing so far that I experienced out in the field was when we're in the woods. Croton Forest, and I walked, or a little branch swiped my face, right? And I thought I was walking into a spider web. And after seeing the spider webs that were out there and the spiders that were in it,
they were huge.
I freaked out. Like we heard creaks, we heard snaps, we heard walking in the woods, we heard things yelling. That little fucking thing made me go.
Yeah, I know. He jumped. I don't know.
I was like, oh, that's just a branch. Okay.
Yeah, but going forward too, like when we do investigate, we're gonna record. Because like when we were recording before, I was just recording like little snippets. Like when I felt like I basically got like the tap on my shoulder, like, "Hey, you need to be recording this part. Hey, you need to be recording." So like I would record, but there's some stuff that occurs that is just like, whoa, what the heck? That we don't get on video, that we experience. So obviously we want you guys to see it so you guys can get our perspective and stuff on location. So hopefully when we start investigating again, we'll have actual like,
you know what, something in all our time investigating, even well, so far all the time investigating, but even all the spirits that come to us and stuff like that, nothing has been 100% real in front of us. Well, not for me anyway. No. But like I'm talking like it looks like a person standing in front of you, right? Like I use example just because I don't know what would I do in a situation, but I know it's been circling around TikTok. That guy went into a abandoned church at night, and he sees that woman sitting there, and she turns and looks at him, and she's like a pale white face, all white, like her veil, everything is all white. She just stares and looks at him. It literally looks like a real person. Granted, it could be fake. Who the fucking knows? But the scream coming out of this guy is absolute fear. That's how I know it's real, because you can't fake that kind of fear coming out of. Granted, he could not be in on the prank or the hoax or something, but the way it looked like it had almost like a haze of smoke around it, but it looked like 100% solid. That's a better word to describe. Solid. Like you see ghosts and spirits, they look kind of translucent. Yeah. This thing looks solid, and it sat there and turned and looked at him, right?
Yeah.
Granted, the first thing I do in a situation is shoot my arm out and pull whatever it was. But no, I've never seen anything that. A shadow figure, but something like that looks human per se, like solid person. Never have before. You were gonna say something?
And a couple of different things. Like and then that's crazy because like when I was a kid, that's how I would see like spirits. I feel like I'm not at that level yet to where I was as a kid, because like a lot of years are shutting off my abilities and stuff like that. But when I was a kid, that's how I would see them. And the best way to put it was like, it sounds a little cliche, but like The Sixth Sense, that movie, how he would see the people, that's exactly how I would see him when I was a kid. But
Ew. I mean, that was a breathe in and slight burp at the same time.
No, we did a case one time where I'm not going to go into like super details because I don't think the details are important. But me and Megan always pair off. She's the other psychic on the team, and we joke around and like call each other twins, and we swear we were twins in past lives. Like, we are so alike. Even my mom, like, when she hears Megan talk, she goes like, whoa, you guys like sound identical. And we're like the same height. It's like, it's creepy. And like, we've had psychics look at us and they can't tell us apart. Like, spiritually, it's weird. Anyways, so me and her, we were in this line getting ready to go to this wooded area, and we had to walk in what seemed like what is it, like, what was it, like wheat or barley or something?
There ain't gonna be no wheat and barley out in the fields. Tall grass.
Tall grass, excuse me. It was just like tall grass. I don't know.
Barley,
I don't know. It was on anyways. Yeah. Anyways, so wheat or barley? Anyways. So when you start like digging into this like field area of this tall grass, I mean, it gets to a point where it's as tall, if not maybe a little bit taller than us. And we're in a line and we can see everybody and we're moving it out of the way. And then Megan goes, hey, I don't feel right. Let's go to the back of the line. And I was like, okay. And so we go to the back of the line and we swear we were in the line. We just let everybody, that was behind us go in front. All of a sudden we can't find anybody. And we're like, what the hell? And so me and her start like trying to find our way back because we had already said we lost them. We're not going to go forward. We're going to go back. We got lost in this thing, and it was it was still today like the most intense thing I've ever occurred, because I heard voices all around me, and we were getting so disoriented that we didn't know we were like, oh my gosh, and like we were trying to call like you guys, and it wasn't going through. It kept saying like dropped call, and we were going. And right before this, we kept getting this word about a tunnel. And we literally got put to this area where it was like a tunnel, and we were like, oh shit, what are we doing? Like, where? And it was taking us to an entirely different part of the wooded area. And it was freaky. It was still one of the most intense things that I've ever experienced. And the fact that we were hearing the voices so clear, like she was even like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is going up? Like, what is going up? That's weird.
What is up?
No, what is going on is what I meant to say.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was an intense moment.
But I guess the most common questions I think most people ask anyone who's in paranormal, and I know I get asked this a lot. I get asked this a lot. When I first tell people I'm into paranormal, I'm a paranormal investigator, blah blah blah, is it's hard to voice it in the words, but essentially it's like, why I always get asked like, why do ghosts exist, or like why do people come back at all? I thought we go to heaven, I thought we go to hell, or something like that. And there's a lot more complications. The things we've learned in the last, I don't know, several years about what Dolores Cannon did, and about about the whole things, and reincarnation and coming back and stuff like that, or having past lives, all the things that correlate to everything that we've experienced firsthand. And why we're still linger here and stuff like that. Sometimes you're stuck. Sometimes you're almost not in prison, but you're kept here by something dark. Or sometimes you need to relay a message before you can move on. Something you didn't get to say, a last word. You left too quickly. You died too suddenly, and you didn't have time to tell someone something. You need to get it across. That's where the old term for unfinished business comes across, right? And that's why I always say in our interviews and stuff like that, is that why our paranormal team is different from all others, because we're not seeking to know the knowledge of the afterlife. We kind of already know what happens to us after that. We don't know 100%, right? No one really does until you're there. But we have a good grasp of what happens. But it's not so much of wanting to know and getting information on it. It's helping those spirits cross over, to move on. So they are no longer here.
Yeah.
And clearing out the dark ones that are trying to keep those here, or infesting a place that they should not be.
Yeah.
And making it hard for the living to live a certain place. But yeah, I remember getting that question asked a lot, and also like, how do you know you have a demon in your house? Or how do you know it's a ghost or something like that? Most of the time, a human spirit is trying to get information, or it's trying to give you information. It's trying to communicate. It's not trying to scare you. It's trying to get noticed, so you talk to it, right? Yeah. Something evil is just trying to torment you, trying to scare you, trying to upset you, trying to make you leave. Yeah. Right? So that's when most of the times you get in contact with the paranormal investigation team, to
validate what it is.
Yeah. So.
On to the next episode.
Already? We're still recording this one.
Yeah.
You didn't get the joke. I think that wraps up this episode.
Oh, yeah.
And next week. You still got the giggles from your joke we just did off air.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, what's next week's episode?
Next week's episode, we are diving into, it's a little bit of like retelling people's stories and like our theories about it, but it is like ghost calls and 911 calls. I should say 911 ghost calls and ghost calls. It's stories where like the deceased person has, I don't know how to explain it. Okay, like a person will get like a phone call from a deceased loved one, and they can't explain as to why they have it. Because there was a story I was reading where like this mom, her dad died, and had a voicemail that came through. She saw like the phone number, and she knew it was her dad, but she like, what the freak? Like, someone else have his number? Like, what is this? And so she put it straight to voicemail, and it was legit him talking, and she doesn't know how because he died. So things like that. Or I've heard too, people have had answering machines. Well, that's like an old fashioned thing, but like
answering machine.
Yeah. Answering machine messages.
You kids don't know about answering machines.
Or even, and we're going to incorporate, there's even some 911 calls where they've gotten calls. They went to the house and they found out the person that made the call was deceased, and they don't understand why. They can't trace it. They don't understand why. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. So we're going to kind of dive into the concept of that and tell some people stories about that.
Yeah. And as always, guys, you can catch our social media, or contact us through social media, Hidden in the Shadows Podcast on Instagram, Hidden in the Shadows 6 on Twitter, Hidden the Podcast 2 on TikTok, or links to all our social media and all ways you can listen to us at hiddenshadowspodcast.com. Or you also get links to our merch store. And you can buy a shirt or two. Please buy a shirt or two. Buy something. Anyway, yeah. Also, if you guys listen to Apple iTunes, if you want to give us a 5-star, go right ahead. I think Spotify has a new rating system as well. So if you want to do that as well, that'd be super, super, super good. And I'd look forward to a new episode next week. I don't think we have any, no bonus episodes coming up anytime soon.
No.
Not at the moment. But we got some lined up soon.
Yes.
But as always, we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.
Yep.
This month